What are some arguments for and against a future in which humans no longer have relationships with other humans and only have relationships with AI?
One thing to say about it is that AI is becoming better and better at understanding our feelings, our emotions, and therefore of developing relationships and intimate relationships with us. Because there is a deep yearning in human beings to be understood. We always want people to understand us, to understand how we feel. We want my husband, my parents, my teachers, my boss to understand how I feel. And very often we are disappointed. They don't understand how I feel, partly because they are too preoccupied with their own feelings to care about my feelings. AIs will not have this problem. They don't have any feelings of their own, and they can be 100% focused on deciphering, on analyzing your feelings. So, in all these science fiction movies in which the robots are extremely cold and mechanical and they can't understand the most basic human emotion, it's the complete opposite. Part of the issue we are facing is that they will be so good at understanding human emotions and reacting in a way which is exactly calibrated to your personality at this particular moment, that we might become exasperated with the human beings who don't have this capacity to understand our emotions and to react in such a calibrated way. There is a very big question which we didn't deal with, and it's a long question of whether AIs will develop emotions, feelings of their own, whether they become conscious or not. At present, we don't see any sign of it. But even if AIs don't develop any feelings of their own, once we become emotionally attached to them, it is likely that we would start treating them as conscious entities, as sentient beings, and will confer on them the legal status of persons. In the US, there is actually a legal path already open for that. Corporations, according to US law, are legal persons. They have rights. They have freedom of speech, for instance. Now, you can incorporate an AI. When you incorporate a corporation like Google or Facebook or whatever, until today, this was to some extent just make-believe, because all the decisions of the corporations had to be made by human beings, by the executives, right, the lawyers, the accountants. What happens if you incorporate an AI? It's now a legal person, and it can make decisions by itself. It doesn't need any human team to run it. So you start having legal persons, let's say in the US, which are not human, and in many ways are more intelligent than us. And they can start making money. For instance, going on TaskRabbit and offering their services to various things like writing texts, so they earn money. And then they go to the market, they go to Wall Street, and they invest that money. And because they're so intelligent, maybe they make billions. And so you have a situation in which perhaps the richest person in the US is not a human being. And part of their rights is that they have, under freedom of speech, the right to make political contributions. So this AI person
now lobbyists
can contribute billions of dollars to some candidate in exchange for getting more rights to AIs.
So there'll be an AI president. I'm